Hi guys, I'm Yuna and today's video will be all about what's NosTale. This video is meant for people who are interested in trying out NosTale for the very first time, or even for returning players since the game has been through so many changes, and recently we also got some improvements and quality of life updates to the early game. But don't worry, if you are not new to the game, feel free to comment on this video and maybe share your tips and tricks for newer players too. So, what's NosTale? NosTale is a free-to-play 2.D MMO developed by a Korean developer and published to Europe via Gameforge. The game first got released in 2006 and ever since 2008 it's for us Europeans to play too. So this game is pretty old. It's actually going to be 20 years in 2026, which is kind of insane, but I personally think it succeeded in keeping its charm, and to me, honestly, it does not look dated at all. Official description from Gameforge.com says, "Your legendary story begins today. Become part of a thrilling journey and change the fate of the world, explore breathtaking locations on your adventures, fighting against monsters and even other players, or join forces to defeat even more powerful enemies and raids. Choose your path. Swordsmen, archers, mages, or martial artists, each class offers a unique flavor and the opportunity to create your own personalized character. Tame wild animals and partner up with iconic characters. Train them and fight side by side in battles. Other players can join you too on your adventures. Customization and player housing, the mini-land. While there is not a fully customizable player housing, the player actually has kind of like an own property you can access via every major game city and also with a special magical item. There you can install minigames and gain rewards if other players play them. You can have up to 30 pets and 3 partners, or even more if you upgrade it. Take some time out from adventuring in your own mini-land, a place where you can build your own home, look after the garden and party with your friends. When it comes to customization, there's also many costume options for your headwear, armor and weapons. Gain powerful bonuses with these and even mix and match them or create your own unique combo with a premium costume fusion item." Okay, so that was the official game description. I changed it a bit because it was a bit outdated, but the core of it is the same. So, are you interested in this game? If yes, let's just dive right into the character creation. In NosTale, there's 4 main character classes and 1 temporary. You, as a new player, have a choice to create either a temporary, adventurer, or jump right into the game and start at level 56 with one of the 3 main classes. If you start as an adventurer, you start at level 1 in the first and the main village of the game, and then once you reach level 15 with adventurer, you can choose your class. Starting as an adventurer and then proceeding to changing your class is the original intended way of playing the game. It's basically like a tutorial for the game and it walks you through the entirety of the early game up until level 56. At level 56, the first main story arc ends and you kind of get to the second one. If you choose to start as either a swordsman, archer or a mage, you start right at level 56 and already in the second game village and starting up at the second main story arc. And what is the last mentioned main class, you may ask? Well, that's the martial artist. And this one is kind of a special one because you can create a martial artist if you have at least 1 character level 80. So I am not going to be talking about martial artists in this video whatsoever. So before I explain the major game features and the general flow of the game, let me just briefly say this. I have seen some really popular YouTubers playing NosTale for the very first time and basically shitting on the game. It had millions of views and I just didn't like it. Obviously, they haven't even changed their class or obtained a subclass, and basically what I want to say, while it's fair to have your opinions, videos like that just rub me the wrong way, and I feel like there really should be a video about this game from someone who's played it for almost 15 years and actually knows what the game is about and about its flaws, but also its good stuff. So, okay, let's jump right into the major game features. The main game feature of NosTale is definitely the subclasses system. In this game, you can't change your class once you've chosen it or created it, but there is plenty of subclasses for each main class which can be changed freely once you obtain these subclasses. These subclasses are called specialists, and as you'll note, in the game there are 4 power elements, so there will be monsters with various elements and they will deal bonus damage based on their element. Their elemental power, which is in percents, and your element. This also applies to the player. Each specialist has 1 of 4 elements, and if you want to maximize your damage, you will have to choose a specialist with an element that has advantage against the enemy's element. I mean, you don't have to, but this is basically how the game is mostly played. As I already mentioned, there are 4 elements: fire, water, shadow, and light. In this game, it's not like Pokemon where one type is strong against the other, and that means that the other is weak to the first one. In this game, fire is the strongest against water, but water is also the strongest against fire. So it works both ways. More on that on the equipment part of this video. So, your character's element and elemental power is determined by the fairy you have equipped. Fairies are both free-to-play story rewards and premium items you can buy with real money or gold. Currently, there's more than 45 specialists. If you want to have a deeper look into them, you might want to visit one of these videos, or generally just type NosTale and the name of the specialist in the search bar, and I'm sure you'll find some videos and photos too. But how to actually get a specialist? Specialists in this game are referred to as SB and a number. So basically, SB1 is the very first specialist ever released and it's available for you from level 36, and SB2 is available from level 45. If you decide to create a character with a class already starting at level 56, you will actually get SB1 and SB2 for free, but if not, you will actually have to complete a series of missions to acquire them. At level 55, you can actually get SB3, which even has a long lore to it and some difficult missions too, and at level 65 you can get SB4, which too has a lore and very difficult missions. SB5, 6, 7 and 8 are all available as a reward from raid boxes. They have their story quest and lore too, but to actually obtain these via gameplay, you will have to join their respective raids and be a bit lucky to get it from a raid box. You can also buy these raid boxes straight from the player bazaar, or just buy the SB itself, which is generally a lot more expensive because it requires a premium item from the item shop. SB 9, 10, 11, and in future 12 are kind of an endgame specialist available for you on higher levels, so if you want to have these, you either have to really play the game for quite some time, or just buy them from another player, which again may be a bit pricey. These endgame SPs all have their stories and very difficult missions too. There's also some fun SPs which I'm not going to be talking about in this video. The other main game feature is pets and partners. In NosTale, there's more than 200 available pets for you to capture, tame, obtain, or buy from. You can capture or tame various monsters in NosTale completely for free, but they are generally a lot weaker than premium ones. You can also get stronger pets in some events or just buy them from Bazaar. Since some pets also drop from the gacha thingy in the item shop, there's actually a lot of pets in the Bazaar for not so high prices. When it comes to partners, there is currently 4 of them which are free from the main game story. You will get 1 long-ranged partner and 2 melee tanks partners at level 25, 35 and 49. Sadly, if you start the game at level 56, you will have to go back and get them if you want. There is also 1 magic tank available for free from level 85, and this one is actually really good. Why are pets and partners so major in this game though? Well, pets and partners are really good because they act like a shield for the player. Not only are some of them extremely tanky, some of them even have overpowered skills like pulling enemies together or healing the player or buffing the player's damage outcome. And on top of that, partners can also obtain their own specialists. These are referred to as PSP or SPP, and there's currently more than 35 of them. If you're interested in which pets and partners are good, be sure to check these videos out. Leveling system. Leveling in YunaNostale may be a bit different to some people because there's 3 types of levels in YunaNostale, with 2 of them being permanent and 1 of them is unique for every specialist. When you start out this game, you will notice you're at level 1 and job level 1, or level 56 and job level 50. Level, I will be calling it combat level from now on. Combat level is important from level 1 to level 85, and it's basically a generic leveling mechanic to progress through the main story of the game and to lock low-level players from entering certain areas. Job level is something that, if you're an adventurer, gets capped at job level 20, then you must choose a class to progress your job level any further. Once you choose your class, you start from job level 1 again, and with higher job level you basically can upgrade or learn more skills and equip and use specialists. To get combat level XP, you need to do quests or farm mobs or get someone to do that for you while you AFK. So, yes, you can group up with other players to progress the main story or to just smash monsters and get some XP that way. The player always receives more EXP if they actually hit the enemies. The job level obviously stays with you and your class forever, but each specialist has its own job level. The higher the specialist's job level is, the more you can upgrade your specialists, both for free and also with premium items. Maximum combat level is 99. There's also where your stats like HP and attack stop gradually scaling. And maximum class job level is 80 and maximum specialist job level is 99 too. But there's also another leveling system, the champion level. These days, this is the main level you will be encountering. Currently, maximum champion level is 90, but with each new main story added to the game, they increase the maximum champion level cap. To enter the first champion level area, you need to be at least combat level 85, so that's basically when the endgame starts. But it does take a long time to get even to champion level 50, so... In the past, they made early game and leveling a lot faster, so if you're an old player and wants to return, this is the best time to do so since the quests were made a bit shorter and easier, and there's also this semi-permanent XP buff, so that's really good. And obviously, what would an MMO be if there weren't tons of group activities and battles you can join? In YunaNostale, there's over 30 raids for low levels and high levels in the endgame. And there is also a hardcore version for nearly all of them. Raids are also the main source of materials and equipment in the endgame. So, if you're more interested in various raids, I recommend you go watch some of these videos. I also want to briefly talk about the equipment tab in the character profile. Like in every game, you have a weapon and an armor and some accessories. All this stuff is kind of explained in early game when starting as an adventurer, which again, you can't access if you're starting at level 56, so I will do it too. There's actually 2 weapon types for each class, the main weapon or the right hand weapon and the secondary weapon or the left hand weapon. When you're not currently wearing a specialist, you can choose the weapon you fight with. If you press spacebar, you will be using your main weapon, and if you press Z, you will be using your secondary weapon. Another option, left clicking uses the main weapon, and both left and right clicking simultaneously uses the secondary weapon. Secondary weapons are a bit weaker compared to main weapons, but some specialists actually scale with secondary weapons or even both weapons at the same time, so it's still kind of worth to invest in good secondary weapon too. Weapons and armors can be upgraded up to +10, which increases their efficiency by +200%. They can also have different rarities, ranging from rarity -2 to rarity 8. They can also be upgraded with shells. You can get these by slaying map bosses, and in the end game, all weapons and armors actually come with shells in them already. Shells have randomized stats based on the rarity of the shell. Equipment piece can only have a shell in it that has the same or lower rarity as the equipment. You may be thinking, why am I even talking about such stuff in this video for beginners? But let's just say it's to kind of prepare you for all this stuff that's in the game. And honestly, shells are a major thing. It's like that one thing that makes equipment go from the price of 200k to 4 billion. So then there are also runes, and you can also apply them to equipment, but I won't be talking about that since this isn't present in the early game at all. There are also fairies, as I already mentioned. The equipped fairy determines what element you are using at the moment, and you can't use a different element fairy than your equipped specialist. The fairy's strength is written in percent, and you can make them stronger by killing monsters near your combat level range. This grants them EXP, which makes their percentual power higher. In the endgame, raids also grant some EXP to fairies. And if you were wondering if you can even defend yourself from elemental damage somehow, yes, that's where resistances come in handy. Shoes and gloves grant resistances, and basically if you have more than 100%, let's say, resistance to fire, you are totally immune to any additional element damage from fire specialists, and also from fire monsters. But if only it were that simple, there's equipment that negates resistances. So for example, in this wand, you can see it negates a huge portion of resistances. So 100 fire resistance would not be enough against a red mage who would be using this staff. Resistances can be merged together, so you can create all sorts of combinations and stats combinations, and you can have up to 6 shoes or gloves merged together at once. Then there's also accessories, rings, necklaces and bracelets. These give minor stats, but most importantly, you can infuse them with these magic stones. They are called salons, and these will give the accessories even more stat, for example additional HP or reducing the incoming crit damage. Then there's masks and hats. Masks and hats are kind of a minor feature in the early game, although they have its place in the main story before level 56 too, but it's nothing really serious. Their main appearance though is definitely in the endgame, where hats are divided into PVM and PvP versions, both enhancing your damage and other stats in those respective areas. Then there's limited time amulets. These range from tarot cards, Mother Nature's runes, and some other limited stuff. These are like an hour-long limited buff for your characters that increase some stats. And there's also titles, which are shown under your nickname in the game, and you can choose what title you want others to see and what titles effect you actually want to use. Some titles are just a reward from reaching certain combat level. Some titles you can get in raids, and some titles are premium items from the item shop or the gacha. And then there's also mini-pets. Mini-pets are honestly something between a fairy and a title and an amulet. They just fly around, and you get and give you some like bonus stats for a limited time. However, this time is not just 1 hour, but a whole month. I think you can only get mini pets in the item shop and in the player bazaar. Then we have 3 types of costumes: costumes for headwear, costumes for armors, so basically just costumes, and also costume weapons. You can only get costumes in the item shop or in certain events as a free reward, or you can buy them in the bazaar, obviously. Most costumes these days are a necessity to progress in the end game, as they grant movement speed bonus, attack damage bonuses, and most importantly, experience gain bonuses. These costumes tend to be quite pricey, but as they release more and more of them, the older one get kind of cheaper. And also there's many time-limited actions in the item shop where people just randomly get a bunch of those costumes in the gacha and then they sell them quite cheaply. Okay, so I just show you all this fancy stuff, but how to actually progress in this game. In YunaNostale, there's generally 3 ways of progressing your combat level, job level, and champion level. The first one is kind of an obvious one: doing quests. Whether you're starting at level 1 or 56, you should be doing quests for as long as you can, preferably to level 85. The second one is a time-limited map mobbing. At combat level 65, you unlock a special map called Land of Death that opens several times a day and lasts about 2 hours. You can actually see the schedule when it opens and closes on the official YunaNostale Discord, so I recommend visiting that as well. And yeah, there are quite strong monsters, but they give tons of XP. You can basically be here up to combat level 90 if you want. Over time, obviously not in 2 hours. Yeah, but it's not really advised, as 85 combat level is considered the end of combat level journey nowadays. Disclaimer: you can access this map only if you have a guild. This is because it's actually really hard and you will need help from other people. Or maybe if you're a group of 3 friends, you can just create a guild in the first village and you can chat it that way. In this map, the majority of monsters are shadow element. There's also water and fire, but I don't think you really need to kill them. So yeah, basically using light element specialists with a lot of AoE skills is highly recommended. There is also another time-limited map, but this one is basically for the end game and it unlocks at champion level 30. And then there's 2 more, but the first version is at champion level 30 and it's called Land of Life. You also need a guild and it works basically the same, but this time it's filled with light element monsters and also a lot of other element monsters too. The third way of progressing is basically just mobbing anywhere. Obviously, there are a lot of maps in YunaNostale, so if you don't have guild and you reached a point in the game where you don't know how to progress to another level, I recommend just mobbing. Which generally, from combat level 1 to 85, you should be fine with doing just quests. But from champion level 1 to 30, you really need to do some mobbing with your friends and then make use of the limited time champion level map, the Land of Life. Okay, so we actually progressed. So now how do we actually make money? Well, you can go watch tons of videos online on that matter, but all I'm gonna say is you can use the player bazaar in the marketplace, and there you can basically search for any item you're interested in to see its price. You can search for stuff there and find something you might like to hunt for and then sell. You can hunt for items on general maps or in raids. Yeah. Obviously, YunaNostale is a free-to-play MMO, so it has to make money somehow, so that's when the premium item shop comes to play. You can buy the NOS dollars currency with real-world money, and then buy premium stuff you can sell for a lot of gold or use for yourself. There's also a spinning wheel gacha, and that's where most of the players spend their money. So this was like a, I hope, quick introduction to YunaNostale. So I really hope you liked it, and please, if you're not new, share some of your tips and tricks for new players in the comment section so we can all have a little chat there. And also, there's this semi-official NosTale wiki, and you can search for literally anything game related there, so I really recommend visiting this site. And if you end up actually playing this game, definitely be using this site. It's a lifesaver for like every NosTale player. So yeah, I do recommend that site. And also, I think I will be doing a long NosTale walkthrough video, which is basically going to be like a commentary let's play explaining stuff for beginners and navigating throughout the main story of the game from level 56 to 80 or 85. So you can actually vote on my YouTuber kind of like page what class I should be playing. So far the swordsman is winning, and I actually do want to play as a swordsman. So yeah, so that's like, I think that's all. Like obviously this game has so much stuff to offer, so like obviously it's not all, but I think it's like a general kind of view of the game. I think it's all. So if you're interested in my videos, I mainly do NosTale and some creative stuff too. So yeah, you can subscribe to me and like this video and share it to your friends, or maybe if you want a new kind of cutesy anime MMO, you can just like share this video and start this game with a friend or two and recommend them my YouTube channel. So bye, I will see you all in the next one.